So tell me what we gonna make that magic. Tell me what we trying to take that cabbage. What we trying to calculate that average. If it ain't to innovate, we might as well scrap it. So tell me what we gonna make that magic.
Hello again, and welcome back to Poet's Return. I am your host, Melissa Bowie, and we are very happy to have Cairo Spencer on today for episode 6 of this season. So, like Carlos Mendoza, who was on an earlier episode, I was introduced to Cairo after seeing the Milkcrate Monologues, which is a 10-monologue hip-hop style rap-infused play that was performed as an original piece back in October at Town Street Theater, which is has residence here at Stella Adler in Los Angeles. So Carlos was on an earlier episode. We have Cairo today, who is also a very talented member of that cast. And later in the season, we will have the director-writer and actually the person whose music you heard at the beginning and end of this episode, Phyllis Cypher, RJ Wayne, a.k.a. Ron Johnson, or I should say Ron Johnson, a.k.a. RJ Wayne, and Phyllis Cypher. But these are all people that I feel very, very grateful to introduce you to, and I'm very excited to do so. And today, Cairo is an extremely charismatic young man. He's only 23 and came to LA just wanting to pursue film and has really hit the pavement doing that, as well as creating his own work. And since his time in Milkcrate, has been inspired to really cultivate his writing and pursue his spoken word and beat poetry more. So today we're actually going to hear the first poem he performs, NYR Banter, is featured on his Instagram page, which he will plug at the end of the podcast, and you will see as well in the episode description. But on his Instagram page, he actually did a visualization of this poem. So you will hear on the episode, we did this back in December, there's a little foreshadowing where Cairo very cryptically mentions that he's got some things in the work for NYR Banter. But only a month and a half or so later, I saw this posted on his Instagram. So go check it out. It's a really cool visualization of his words with some really awesome jazz music in the background. And it's just cool to see him pursuing his original art. So, without any further ado, here is Cairo Isaiah Spencer. Thank you. We are here with Poet's Return. And Cairo, I don't even know, what's your last name?
Spencer.
Cairo Spencer.
Cairo Isaiah Spencer, to be exact.
It's a strong name.
Yes.
Yes.
Shout out to my mom and dad.
Yeah. I know, it's good when you're not a kid that is angry and resentful for being named something awful, right?
Well, I almost got my dad's name, which is Weiner.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's spelled how?
W-Y-N-E-R.
I kind of like that,
And I would have been the third one.
Weiner the third.
But my mom said no. She said, we're not doing that.
Gonna go Cairo.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you, Mom.
Yeah, shout out to Mom for real.
So Cairo, I was introduced originally about 2 months ago when I got to come see Milkcrate Monologues at Town Street Theater. And you all were an amazing cast and worked so well together with the words and taking Ron's stories, bringing it to life with your own stories also in there.
Truly appreciate it.
Yeah, it was really great, and because of that, it was inspiring to be able to get to know you all a little bit more by coming to the cast recording, which the cast album should be out around, I think, March. Dan and Andrew were saying they're editing it. That's like February, March. They're thinking.
Yeah, I think they'll probably release it later, but obviously we'll see it before then. You know?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But that was a really cool experience just to be a fly on the wall during that whole recording, seeing you all get to be in there in the studio and record those words. Mm-hmm. And also got to listen to you freestyle a little bit just between, which was really nice.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Just, we were speaking that you grew up in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So when did you move to LA and all that?
Yeah, I've been in LA for a little over a year now. I made a year in September. Nice. Granted, I'm from the Bay Area, so I've been down here a couple times, so I am familiar with it. But it's been totally different being here as an adult, as a creative. The last time I was here for such a long stay was I was doing like an internship type thing, like basically a domestic abroad program is what I would call it.
The air quotes, I love it.
Yeah. So like I was working at BET, working at like another late night show, but to be here on my own, working with people, doing what I like, it's been the best thing ever.
Well, and Cairo, tell us, you're very young. How old are you?
I'm 23.
23?
23 in August. Shout out to all the Leos out there.
Yeah, hey, I love Leos. I'm a Libra, so Leos and Libras.
Oh, yeah. This is why it works.
We get along.
There you go.
Absolutely. But, yeah, so how old were you? So when the internship started, how old were you when you were doing that?
I was a junior in Whoa. I was a senior in college, so I had just turned 21. I turned 21 when I was out here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so when you came out and you were doing those, which is so cool that you got to work with BET and late night shows, that must have been an experience.
Yeah, I got a chance to meet a lot of celebrities, and I've never been the person to kind of be like, oh my God, it's this person, right? But there was a moment of like, oh, this person's doing what I want to do in the future. Like, let me make sure I'm on my best behavior and, ask them questions that I can. That was amazing, man.
Who would you have someone in mind like that really stood out that you got to meet and speak to?
I mean, to say I met Black Panther Chadwick Boseman was awesome.
Dang.
Who else? Oh gosh, the names are escaping me now. There was a lot.
But that's good because that means you were present in the moment.
I was very present. Smokey Robinson gave me a hug. there's Jane Goodall.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she was adorable. She came in with like this little like stuffed gorilla. It was really cute. But oddly enough, Dave Crosby is probably the story that sticks out to me the most. I didn't know a lot about his music, where I just kind of knew he was a name. And we were joking around about, celebrities who have a lot of requirements in their contracts when they come on set, right? And he was pretending to be like, oh, there's no green Skittles in my room. There's no green Skittles in my room. If you guys don't give me green Skittles, I'm going to walk right out that door. And I was like, well, the door's right there. And he took 3 seconds. And he just started busted out laughing. He's like, oh, man, you got to keep that, man. That's perfect. The pause you took, oh, that is comedy. Just clap. So that was a defining moment to be like, okay, I took a risk and it worked out.
Yes. It's nice when you're rewarded for those risks.
Exactly.
How cool. Yeah. Well, so did you always know you kind of wanted to come to LA eventually? Or yeah.
Ever since I was in elementary school. Yes. There are lists in my house of like where I want to be in 5-6 years, whatever. And one of the first ones like says like, oh, I'm going to UCLA, living in LA, doing this, doing that. Didn't end up going to UCLA, but I'm here now.
But you're here.
But I'm here. Yeah.
Well, and it's cool, as much as it can be a constant hustle and a struggle being an artist in Los Angeles, it's also very rewarding when you have those triumphs to even just look in retrospect and say, I said I was going to do this and I'm doing it.
Right.
So that's really cool. So now for Milkcrate, how did you, because you've been here for a year now, I've obviously seen you on social media, you're doing the acting hustle, which it looks like you have representation out here.
No, I do not.
See that, but you're doing the right thing by continually going out there and putting yourself out there, and that's the way to get represented.
I keep finding myself in spaces where, especially as someone who dances as well, I find myself in auditions in spaces where everyone there has an agent, and they're all like, oh, that's how I got this through my agent. I'm like, I just submitted for something on LA Casting, so. And
hey, that's...
But do what you got to do.
That's the way but it's such an important thing right now, especially being able to, that's something that I have to work on a lot is the marketing and self-promoting and just getting yourself out there and taking the risks.
Yeah, it takes a lot of confidence, for sure. A lot of confidence,
But that was something else that I saw in Milkcrate, was that you are an amazing dancer also.
Appreciate that.
Which is great. And that's just another thing to have, when you have things in your wheelhouse that you can pull from, like that as a performer, I think doing pieces like Milkcrate Monologues, you'll find an opportunity for things that you forget, at least for me, forget how much you love to do, being able to bring it all into one space.
Right.
Which is, I think, such a powerful thing about hip-hop and using that as a platform to tell stories, because it's storytelling, it's lyrics, it's music, it's dancing, it's getting people involved in the cypher at the beginning, There's so much about it that incorporates such traditional ideas of theater and live performance with this hip-hop movement and these raw words that are asking the audience to sort of participate in it. Yeah, so Milkcrate specifically, I remember talking to you in the interview. When was there a moment when you started doing that show that you were like, I'm a rapper, like I can do this? Or had that happened before for you, or since then, since the show's closed?
I feel like it happened in phases, maybe, right? Because before the show, I had written some things, but it was more of as a joke, right? I'll hear him write this little rap, it doesn't mean anything, whatever. During the show, I found myself in the audition, and it just felt natural to just kind of like rap and do these things. And I'm like, all right, I'm not worried about it. I got it. We're cool. And then after the show ends, and, after I've had talks with Phyllis Cypher and all this stuff, and I'm like, and I've gone and written even more, and I really look at my work, and I'm like, oh, like, this is something, like, this really is something I could do. It's something that doesn't feel like I'm forcing. That's my biggest thing. It doesn't feel like I'm forcing it. It just kind of comes natural. So it's kind of built up in phases.
Yeah, which I love that, because it's like, it's which I think happens for us as artists, especially as like musicians and performers and music, where it kind of hits you in waves. And it's another cool thing that you all said is that you have these group text messages with the cast where you all send each other rhymes, you send each other things.
Oh, Bad Raps crew.
Bad Raps crew. I'm sorry, Bad Raps crew.
Bad Raps crew. Yeah, that you wanted to hear the story behind that? We were just like just boys, hanging out. It was me, Carlos, Akshay, and Scotty, and we're just back there, and like none of us like really rap for real like Phyllis Cypher does, but like. We're just like, let's mess around. Let's like freestyle. And I just took it as like, yo, let's relax. Like, just say whatever because we all know we're not professionals. So just say whatever. And it just became this thing. It's like, be as bad as you want. Be as bad as you want. And actually, I think that helped us actually come up with better rhymes after that. Because when there's a sense of you don't need to be perfect, even better stuff comes out.
Yeah, and it's like takes you back to being a kid almost, where you can just play and not judge everything.
Yes, exactly.
Which is, when things can organically come out, and before you know it, you're not thinking about it, and stuff just happens.
Right.
But I think that's so cool because it goes back to you saying like that having the realization continue to happen in phases, where it starts out with just having a place to feel like, oh, this is natural. I don't have to overthink this, and then also having people that you can share new words with. Because I think it's really important. Like even when I had Carlos on Friday, he said if you ever have raps that you just want to send to someone, whether it's 2 lines or whatever, like you can always send me stuff. And it's just nice to even have one person, let alone a crew of people that you can share stuff with and have a safe place.
Yeah.
So do you have anything? I know I said like 2 to 3 pieces, but is there a piece right now that you would like to share? That, and it can be anything that you want, any length.
I said 2 to 3. I can definitely give you 2.
Perfect.
Here's one about, you've caught me at an interesting time in my writing where I'm trying to figure out whether I'm a rapper, whether I'm a poet, or as I talked to a friend of mine who's an artist yesterday, he's like, your stuff is sounding more like spoken word at this point.
Which is kind of an interesting. It's a great place to be.
Really,
too,
it's really interesting.
Because you don't have to put yourself in a box. You can be all those things.
So so these pieces, I feel like you're gonna find that I sound rapping. It seems like a poem, but it's also a word. I am saying something. So this one is like my New Year's Eve resolution banter, as I call it, and it goes like this. Our annual reflections of the previous year's dissatisfaction are done in anticipation of the next year's declaration. Will we start to plan and achieve the goals, or will we step to our habits and cuddle in our old woes? Because why change what kind of works for something that isn't comfy and might hurt? Why train in pain for negative weight gain when I can settle? Not unlike the tea kettle that hollers at the slightest touch of heat to the metal. I'm lazy. I mean, why complain? Why not stay the same? Why tell the world that you've decided to change? We could all stay sane as content plain Janes, but then where and when would the world get better? It wouldn't. It would stay the same. So take that risk, make a dish, then break the plate, settle down, now turn it up, and be great, because you never know if this year's date will hold the last breath you ever take. That's why I stay up riding late, spitting bars at the fastest rate. No distractions, I'm not the fish debate, but I'm a catch like Golden Tate. I promise I'm gonna live right, I'm gonna live life my way, because when my time is up, for nothing I will wait but the opening of those pearly gates. And so I say, let's undo this play. You can make time to dream at bay, but I can't promise you'll see another day. So take a trip, open your lips, and kiss that one boy or girl who almost got away. There's no one to blame, no sad songs to sing, just go for gold and make a change, for new time's sake.
I love that. So
that's that one, yeah.
Let's talk about that one first.
Yeah, go for it.
I love your use of imagery also. The tea kettle, the plate, like the I'm not a fishy bait, like that. Oof.
Yeah.
And it happens so fast, but as it's happening, it's like film. I can see it happening, and I love your rhyme schemes. I love it when poets and rappers, you have a word that you think they've moved on from that scheme, and then it comes back. And and you're like, oh no, it's still.
I've noticed that about my style,
which is great. Yeah. I love that. And it's almost like Shakespearean to me because it has that sort of. You have those rhymes that are very strong. Yeah, I could totally see that being a 2-minute music video.
Yeah.
Of this person on New Year's Eve. Thinking about their year behind, their year ahead.
I've already got. We're thinking of some stuff. Don't worry.
Okay, perfect. Because I think that would be an amazing visualization.
Yeah, but I think that one's funny because I'm talking about New Year's as in what's coming up, just 2020. But that one I wrote at 3 different times. So I think I started that maybe maybe in 2018.
Oh, nice.
Added a little more, maybe about like a couple months ago. And then very recently, like I picked up my writing a lot more, and I wrote like the rest of it and switched some stuff around.
Well, and do you feel like since working on the show with everybody, you've probably all been pretty inspired to write?
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
I love that. I love when stuff kicks off like that, because then you have pieces like this that could be 2, 3, 4 years old even, that you come back to, that you got stuck in, or you thought this was finished, and you realize you can bring this new life into it, but it's still the same kind of story. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And so I like that it's also New Year's resolution banter. Mm-hmm. I think you should keep that title.
Yeah, it's just because when I first like did it, there's just so many words going on, and I was like, it doesn't feel like a song. It just feels like I'm just saying a lot of stuff, and like it feels like I'm bantering about something. So there you go.
But there's definitely still that musicality. Mm-hmm. So I see what you mean about, spoken word poetry, beat poetry, trying to figure out where you live. And I think the best thing to do as artists is to, not try to, again, put ourselves in a box.
Right, exactly.
Because the piece lives as it is, so we can too. Because it's like, whatever that needs to be for whoever's affected by it, whether it's got a beat or it's just said, it still lives, which I love. And I love artists that use that imagery, because it takes you on a roller coaster with them. So when you write, Cairo, do you typically, because I like how in that you also said, I'm up late, do you have a practice with writing? Like, because some writers will force themselves every morning they have to write, or every night they write. Do you have something where it's like that, or is it sort of stream of consciousness where you might just get a thought, you have to pull the car over, you have to start writing? How does your kind of inspiration work process-wise?
I think one of the reasons why I love this whole writing thing that I'm getting into is because it doesn't ever feel forced. So I don't force myself to wake up and say, I have to write something. I tried doing that at the beginning of this year, but it didn't, I just got tired of it, right? It has to be natural. A lot of the stuff, when I first really started writing, I was inspired by a very good friend of mine, very good female friend of mine. She's in New York at the moment. But a lot of my stuff, like, it was stuff that would happen between us, and just like, I was like, how do I explain this? And I would write about it, and I was like, oh, turn this into a poem, yada yada. So a lot of the stuff comes from experiences, dealing with that. But lately, it's just, I could be thinking about anything that happens during the day. And I might think, like, how can I put that into 2 lines? And I have, like, a couple pages on my phone that are just random couplets. Just random couplets of stuff. And so if I don't have the time to write it right there, or it's not fully coming to me, I'll just do the random couplet. And then if I have time later on in the day, like, I'll go back and I'll read. I read everything that I have multiple times during a week. Like, just to see if I have anything new to add. And so I'll go back to that couplet and be like, oh, okay. This goes in here. I can rhyme this with that. And then it just starts sprawling. Yeah.
But I love when you have multiple muses, whether it's a relationship with someone, a person that inspires you, whether it's just you're in an inspired phase, and it could be looking at a tree, hearing a song, just thinking a thought. I always feel like there's those times in our lives where the muses are everywhere, and it's like you want to chase that for as long as you can.
Yeah.
But that's how I am too. I tried for a long time to try to discipline myself and get up and write, but I would find that I was writing anyway when it was hitting me. So
exactly.
Why
I just
force
said, like, let it come to me, man.
Yeah.
Let it come to me.
I like that. So what's the second piece you would like?
The second one, let's get a little. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I got 3. Yeah. The second one. Let's get a little more personal with this one.
Yes.
And
you
a little
can
more personal.
give as much backstory or as little as you want, also.
Hey, man, this is. I wrote this one back in, I guess by the time you guys hear this, in January of last year. So This is early 2019. About that same girl. We're all good, though. Call this BFFs. I wonder why you're so addicting. Is it because you love me first, or is there a deeper meaning to us existing? Because I've crushed on plenty, but never really got attached. Always been picky, but you check boxes I didn't know I had. And we've taken some breaks because you didn't want to make the other mad. But here we are again, like hype beasts and 90s fads. So tell me what it is with us and this love. Can I call it that? That word gets thrown around, so maybe we have a different pact. One that gets bent and pushed by the doubts and our worries, but never gets broken, stretched, and always growing. To be honest, I seldom see us ever letting go, but your logic says another will enter the fold. But we've seen this before. You know how our story flows. I got a hunch you'll be around forever, but as a lover or a friend, who knows? Who says it can't be both?
That hit me so hard. Like, you check boxes off I never knew I had. Because that's totally like that unpredictable love when it hits you and you're like, what is happening?
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, and you capture that in those words. And I love that. That's another one that I see it beautifully visualized. I can totally see like two people, and I think it's also one of those things where so many people have that limbo with someone where you could see such a future with them, and I don't know, but what I get from that is sometimes people have their roles. They're like, they don't believe that you can end up with one person, or people have so many things that happen to them in their lives and relationships that jade us and make us cynical or whatever, but there's still like that element of hope there.
Oh yeah.
And like that kind of curiosity of like, I don't know what this is going to be, but I know whatever it is, I want you in my life.
And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's called BFFs.
Yeah, that's the title that's on there right now. I think I might leave it.
I really like that.
I might leave it.
Because there's also something in it about, I almost see like, those kids on the playground that grow up together and fall. It's like you're so in love, and sometimes we don't even notice the people that we're so in love with. But yeah, I like that it's BFFs because it has that sort of translation where two people that can carry on through all the times in their life. It's timeless. Yeah, I find it very difficult sometimes. Like, I had someone this last year. I went to the Something in the Water music festival in April, and I got to hear all these amazing artists speak. People that have influenced me for years. I mean, even like Timbaland got up on stage and like hearing him talk just casually.
I'm about to say, yeah.
It was just surreal.
That's weird. It's like your beat.
I was like, what's going on? But but I was really inspired just by, I think, just being in the energy around all those artists and hearing them speak about their backgrounds and their process and their artistic careers. And so many things that came out of me when I came back home, I couldn't stop writing. And it's interesting because listening to that, there was a person in my life, who's still in my life, that and I don't know if this is your experience with this person, where you fight and you fight and you fight because you almost want that person to be in this box because you want them to be yours, and then you finally have to kind of surrender and be like, I can't control you, I can't control this relationships, but I do know, like you were saying, I want you in my life, so whatever it is, I'm at peace with it. Yeah. And you seem like you're in a peaceful place.
Oh, we're good. We talk all the time.
That's great.
But, long distance is yeah.
Not easy.
It's not the thing. It's not the thing, so
it's not the
if
thing.
it happens, it happens, but we'll see.
Well, as an actor, a dancer, a writer, so doing all of these things, how hard is it for you to keep like a discipline in terms of how are you at balancing all of the things? Because for me, as an actor, a writer, a producer, doing music, doing all this stuff, do you ever feel like, is there something that you kind of will give up, or like something that you don't hold as important, or are they all kind of equal in your...
It's funny you bring that up. So dancing was the very first thing I ever fell in love with when it comes to art, right? That's the thing that got me into musical theater. That's the thing that I was known for in high school. Like, that has been always like my thing, right? And then I get out to LA, I start working, and I find that I'm not dancing. I'm not going to class. Like, I'm not, even when I go out, I'm not really freestyling or whatever. So, and I tried to come back this year. I tried to get into classes, but again, like, acting took over the summer. I was so busy, and I had to pay for classes and stuff. So it's weird. Dancing has been the thing that's kind of fallen back a little bit. I'm a little stressed out about it, only because that's something so centered to me. But then again, I have to think about it as dancing is not something I need to do professionally. It's just that if I hear a song or I have an idea in my head, I have to be able to do it in that moment. So there are things that I like doing that have fallen off a little bit, but there's a lot of stuff I can do, so I just got to remember to, when one thing kind of falls off, check back in with the others.
Yes, that's important. Yeah, and I think that's a huge point too that you were saying. It's almost like sometimes I feel that same way about dance. Like, I feel like it's like a loyal friend that I know will always be there. Right. So, and I know spiritually it's something I'm always going to have to do, whether it's getting home at 2 a.m, putting my headphones on and just like dancing around my apartment. Exactly. Just whatever it is, and that expression. But I love how aware you are of that, though, because it's very hard for us not to also be hard on ourselves and get in our own way. Yeah. That's one of my biggest struggles is we get down and then we're not productive because we're wasting time being down and hard on ourselves. Yeah. But again, let's take it back. But that was another cool thing that I love about Milkcrate and about hip-hop in general as an art form and a platform to tell stories, because you can incorporate so many things that, to me, are very spiritual and just moving. Like when I walked in and saw you guys with that cipher, I knew that the reason it was in a cipher and in a half moon was because we could get up and do something.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, no, they're on stage and I'm in the audience. I'm safe.
Come up. We love that. We love that.
I'm safe back here. But yeah, I think that's great though that you continue to have all these passions because again, especially in this day and age as a performer, it's like I might as well start learning how to juggle and like do
yeah,
because it's ridiculous. People these days you have to be good at everything. So so yeah, I also would love to ask you what if you were to like give Cairo 5 years ago, like any piece of advice as a writer, because I know you were saying that your passion and just your journey has really kind of grown really fast and has been catalyzed really quickly.
Yes, extremely.
So, do you think 18-year-old Cairo would have believed you if you said, like, writing's going to become a huge part of your passion and your art form?
Like, yes and no. Coming out of high school, I hated writing.
Oh.
I did not like doing essays and any of that stuff. Was I good at it? Yeah. But I didn't like doing it.
It was a chore.
It was when it came to doing a persuasive essay, like, yes, I can write something so fantastic that you'll believe what I say, right. But I'm not enjoying writing an 8-page essay, right?
And they do not make it fun either. Like, I remember being like all that MLA, AMA, I was like, I don't care, APA, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so, which I love, because that's kind of that's an exciting thing.
Yeah.
To have this journey kind of, because obviously this was always in you. You're the same Cairo.
Right. And
like you were just saying, even educationally, you're a good writer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's got to be pretty exciting. Is it ever been, like, I'm sure it's kind of scary sometimes too, if you're ever like, now that I know I can do this, now I have a responsibility. Now I have to do it.
Right, which is funny because when I got into college, my freshman year, it was a really weird quick turnaround. Like, left high school and I was like, I don't really like writing. Got to freshman year, I can do it, so I'll be fine, right? Mm-hmm. And I was doing a lot of African American studies classes because that ended up being my minor. Turned in an essay, I'm like, oh yeah, this is fine, right? My Professor Simpson hands me back the paper and it's just full of red marks. I had a knack for just like my grammar wasn't together, all this stuff. So that stressed me out. I'm like, I'm a good writer. What is up with this? Right. But I got it together. Eventually those red marks went down. She ended up passing away maybe about halfway through my college career.
Oh man.
But my senior year, they had an award named after her, and they gave it to me. They gave it to me because they said you started you were a good writer, but you went from someone who had a bunch of red marks to being one of the top writers coming out of this department.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to, yeah. She meant a lot to me. Little old white lady teaching African American history. Doesn't make any sense, but she was on top of it, man. She meant a lot.
Isn't it nice when you actually have a teacher that really furthers you along? And that was also good for you because you could have easily been like, no, screw you, I'm going to whatever.
Right,
but you learned and you took what she said and you grew as a writer.
Yeah, and I learned to love those classes, love the writing, and did my best to take everything she told me and expand that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's meaningful too. Like going back to talking about what are we? Am I an essayist? Am I a short story writer? Am I a poet? Am I a rapper? And that's why I just start calling people wordsmiths. I'm like, I know which people in my life are a wordsmith and who's not.
It's funny you say that because when I tried out for Milkcrate, they handed us a clipboard. It was like, your name, like the time you got in, whatever. And there was a little box that said, like, what role you're auditioning for. And the options were, like, poet, lyricist, singer, rapper, wordsmith. And I was like, well, I'm rapping today, but I don't really consider myself a rapper. I don't consider myself this or that. And I literally just put all of the above. And when I walked into the audition, they read it. They were like, all of the above? And I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm just going to do my thing. So, like, just yeah.
I don't know. Don't put me in a box. That's a literal box.
Don't put me in a literal box. But it's also funny because when I was talking to RJ I met up with him a couple weeks ago because I needed some guidance on my art. And I was asking him, like, who do you remind me of? Like, what should I be looking to? Yada, yada, yada. And even during the rehearsal process, he said, the first person you remind me of is an artist named Wordsmith. And his rapping style is very similar to mine. Like, the rhyming schemes, just saying the craziest stuff, but making it work. Another guy named Pigeon John, who's also a lot like that. So when you said Wordsmith, I was like, see?
Yeah. See, it all all connects.
I'm on the right track.
You are. Well, and it's hard, especially because today, even like with social media, you got to check all the boxes. What am I? I'm a writer. I'm a poet. I got to put this on my profile. And it's like,
I was just looking at that and I was like, it says actor, but then I also have dancer and writer there. But I'm like, writer, Cairo, you don't write stories. Like, what do you write? And then there's that same thing again of like, what box?
Although these are definitely stories.
These are stories. There's always a way to flip it.
Well, I think, if you really wanted to get all, like, Socrates and tie it up, like, break it all down, Aristotle's Poetics, we're all storytellers.
Yeah,
Dance,
exactly.
Every single piece, all it is, since we've been writing things on cave walls, has just been people telling stories.
I think my email signature actually says storyteller on it.
I love that.
So maybe I'll just keep that.
I like that. So, for your third piece, because I know you said you think you have 3. Which I like these. It's cool because I like these two. These first 2 are very different, but I really can start to hear your style, and I totally see what RJ means about the wordsmith. I think that's totally inaccurate.
Do I want to read this one?
That's when you should read it.
This is the first rap I ever wrote.
Oh, that's exciting.
I wrote this 2 years ago. This was also the rap that I used to audition for Milkcrate with.
I'm intrigued.
So, and I want to say this one was written because my friend was a rapper, and he was joking like, I gotta do this, gotta do that, and I'm like, bro, I could probably write something, right? And so while I was walking my dog, I literally wrote this. So let's go with it. No title, just intro to rap. Young black scholar, that's what the papers don't say. Leave the real truth out. Whites rewriting history. They be laying traps, but I refuse to slip. Black fists raised high with a diploma at the hip. But pause, wait, I forgot my manners. New kid on the block, but I ain't no scammer. A little country twang, but I ain't from Bama. Born urban in the Bay, but never been no banger. Fit so tight, I like to say I'm dapper. Talk so smooth, you can bet I cross Kappa. Always on the move, you would think I'm a trapper. I'm just doing y'all a favor, I ain't even a rapper. I'm just rolling with the motion, the ocean, I think I fit in. Tight with the bros like Lilo and Stitches. I'm the new wave of conscious beats, lyrics, and hits, man. I'll see you in a few when I'm getting rich off of scripts, man. Peace. Yeah.
I can hear that, like, in somebody's car driving down Vineland right now.
Dope.
That's pretty dope. And I'm sure that must have been pretty liberating and fun to get up for the audition and be able to,
Yeah, I rehearsed that a couple times. But it was weird because it was like a cappella. I don't really like doing stuff to beats. So what I did was, I think this really confused them too because I didn't tell them what I was really auditioning for. But I sang going into it to get myself into like a beat. And they were all just like, what's he going to do now? And then I just came out of nowhere with this. And they were all like, oh, okay, dope. Yeah, man. RJ pulled me aside. He's like, got so much soul, bro. Tell me what you think about hip hop, this and that. And I'm like, yeah. And it just.
But I love it because the beat's in there already. Like, you can hear it so much that it's like, I'm the same way. I get thrown off. Carlos actually shared this playlist with me on Spotify that's been helpful. That's just the lo-fi beats, to just put on to practice freestyling. Because that's one thing for me is I so much of my stuff has a beat inherently in it. But then if somebody's like, let me beatbox for you, I'm like, whoa, hold on a second.
I don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah.
Stop beatboxing.
And that's something I found with working with RJ too. He was, because he's a producer as well, and you're trying to put a beat together, and I had some stuff already written, and I was trying to rap it over the beat. I'm like, I got too many words, and I don't have a specific meter. I can't do it over that. So we made one that was very lo-fi, very jazzy, very me, and I was able to riff and move around. Riff. Yeah.
Which is I love because even hearing him beatbox, I'm like, damn.
Oh, he's ridiculous. And I thought I was good. Because I used to beatbox in high school. When our improv group would get together, I was like, no, I'm not going to rap, but I'll just beatbox for you guys, right? But, yeah, nah.
How are all those sounds coming out at the same time? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. He does 7 at a time.
Don't understand.
I don't get it.
Well, for this episode, before I let you go, is there in the next 6 months? Because I've been telling this to myself too. Is there a challenge that you want to put forth for yourself in terms of continuing to write, or do you? Because I know you said you're not going to force anything. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean force anything, but in terms of now getting more comfortable and just more inspired and confident in writing, do you see some concrete goals for yourself as a writer?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of my stuff, again, is in 16 bars, 32 bars, a poem. I do want to try to stretch them a little bit and make it more of a song. Because if I were to put something out, I wouldn't necessarily just put out a poem because it probably won't go as far. And if you're trying to put something on Spotify, like I don't know if anyone's really listening to poems on there, but
Right.
I want to stretch it out and turn it into a song because, like, again, that is something that's a part of my ability, being someone who's been doing musicals and stuff for a long time. So, stretch the writing a little bit, see if I can turn it into a real piece with music behind it, and just kind of see how that feels. If I feel like that's something I can do, I want to keep doing, then maybe I'll put music out. We don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
love that. I think that's beautiful.
We'll see.
And that really boiling it all down. That's you know, you want to continue to grow your stories, tell your stories, and
Yeah, man.
when you have that musical ability inside you, it's kind of impossible. Like for me, I'll put on music and stuff and start if I'm rapping or whatever, the music just comes with it. You know, a lot
Right.
of the time
Yeah.
it just kind of comes with it, and so I love that, and I think that's a great thing to pursue and continue. And obviously, we're going to be releasing the Milkcrate episode and all that stuff around the same time as the cast album's released to kind of promote all of those things simultaneously.
Right.
And eventually, which I always say, you know, I call it my pie in the sky dream. But my pie in the sky dream is to do a full documentary on Milkcrate, you know, like Beyonce's Homecoming, and be able to have the behind the scenes, see the struggle, see the family, see the inspiration, see the doubt, see the triumph, all that, because I think,
That'd be dope.
you know, and I just think that it's people need this right now more than ever, because people need the truth. People, I think, are getting really tired of the same crap.
Yeah.
And and I'm not saying like I don't think there's a place for those artists in hip hop. I'm not hating on the rappers that do this, you know, whatever. It's fun to listen to. It's got a good beat, whatever. But I do think that people are a little hungry for more.
Yeah, man.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you, Cairo Spencer, for coming on. Do you want to go ahead and really quick plug your Insta, any Twitter, any social media you want?
Find me on Instagram. That's where I really be popping at. Follow me at the Eloquent8. That's spelled THE and then a second E, LOKUENT with the number 8. So the Eloquent, spelled with not a Q but a K, and then the number 8.
I love it. I also love that that's your handle. When you told me that, I was like, that.
Oh yeah, man.
Good stuff. All right, well, we will see you again, Cairo, and thank you again for coming on. It has been awesome getting to pick your brain.
Thanks for having me. This has been a pleasure.
Absolutely, dude. You guys are all, it's like I said, people are always like, what is it going to be? So it's basically you sitting there and talking to me about writing.
Yeah, and I didn't even notice like, you made it very seamless, too, because we had already been talking, and you're like, so, Cairo, now let's talk about this. And I was like, oh, that was the switch.
I turn around
that
and wearing glasses and, like, a scarf.
That was the interview switch. I was like, okay.
I suddenly have my news anchor voice.
Yeah.
Like,
so, here we are. So, tell me.
You're like flashbacks to late night.
Yeah.
Poets Return, a poetry podcast where artists share their work and discuss their process, and let you see the story behind the words. This audio production is copyright 2019 by the Poets Return podcast, all rights reserved. The copyrights for each story are held by the respective authors. No duplication or reproduction of this audio program is permitted without the written consent of Melissa Bowie.
So tell me what we gonna make.